Oh, good Thursday morning. It's time to do a little positivity. We are at, as you can see behind me, the Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville, Missouri. A little positive talk time today. And this is one that you are definitely going to want to not only watch yourself, but share with all those that you know, because we're going to show you some tips to train you, and I'm going to say you first, and your dog. So Kennedy Ray is the trainer here at Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville with Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. And we're going to take her dog. We're going to take other dogs from here. We're going to show you some simple tools that you can use so you have a well-mannered, well-behaved dog. And I almost brought Adelaide today because trust me, she needs this type of training, but so does Mama, right? You need to take the extra time to go through those steps with them. So we're going to be doing that, and we're going to showcase one of the dogs that is up for adoption, who is so beautiful. He is known as the Gentle Giant. His name is Bubba, and he's outside. We're going to show the training that Kennedy's able to do with Bubba and with her own dog, and the simple tools, again, to make your dog more of a well-behaved dog. It's 7 o'clock, so Yuppy Puppy actually just opened up. There are people that are going to be dropping off their dogs to Yuppy Puppy for their own training. And I'll be checking in with my team. I have both Ashlyn Cross here with me. Michelle Harmon is here with me. We're going to show outside training. We're going to show, again, people that are just showing up to drop their dogs off. Here's the thing I want to stress to all of you. Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa is here to possibly board if you want to get away for a couple days. You have vacation. You have a week-long maybe getaway. They can take care of your animals, your dogs and your cats, by the way. They can have you drop the dogs off to make sure that you trim their nails. They can do beautiful grooming for you, a multitude of things. Come here and maybe get some toys or some treats for your dogs. All of it right here, and you're going to support those, I know, that want to support us, which, as you know, Jessica Cook, the owner of Yuppy Puppy, she and I connected on this beautiful collaboration within the last couple of months, and it's all the way through the end of the year that we'll be talking about the Forever Rescue component, their upcoming gala to raise money for the wonderful things that they can do here, and then all the levels of things that they can do for you. Let me take a quick look at Michelle's camera. She's outside with Bubba. Bubba actually just walked by, and I'm going to show you their outside training. There you go. This is where you can get your dog trained, and there's one of the sit areas. There's Bubba, the back of Bubba at least. That's Bubba, who we're going to show up for adoption. Look at that beautiful lab. 2 years old. And if you see what's right there next to Bubba, that is the thing that I learned to use as a place command. So we'll talk with Kennedy all about that. Thanks, Michelle, for that shot. I want to give you the weather. I want to give you a little news you can use and some interesting things in the news today. But we all want to start out with this scorching week of weather. In fact, I heard some of the meteorologists say they're not expecting a slowdown in this stretch of a heat wave sweeping our nation until maybe even July. Today is the first official start of summer, and we are welcoming it in with 96-degree temperature. But again, I would look more at the heat index numbers because that's the craziness. 76 for our low tonight. Now, some of you are actually in the low 70s, even in the upper 60s. So it actually feels somewhat nice as you're stepping out the door. If you're walking, if you're running, you're doing your exercising, you might, you know what? Right now, outside of Yuppy Puppy, I see a couple of runners going by. They're doing exactly what I want them to do, and is to get their exercise in as early as they possibly can in the morning. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. Michelle's outside, actually. Yeah, there's a couple of girls going by just outside of Yuppy Puppy. Way to go, girls. You know exactly what you need to do, and that is get the exercise in early, because when you get into the heat of the day, it's never a good thing. I mean, you're out there. I saw somebody running at 3 and 4 yesterday afternoon. I was like, you got to hydrate yourself. It's just dangerous temperatures. 98 for tomorrow's high. The record is 99. So we are flirting with that. We could even go above that. But look at that heat index of 102. Hot, hot, hot stretches Friday and Saturday, and again next Tuesday. So you look at Sunday is 99. Saturday is 99. Sunday is 95. But there is a slight chance of rain and storms, about a 40% chance. And that could actually feel good for us. Dancing and singing in the rain. Monday, 95. Tuesday and Wednesday, back up into the upper 90s on Tuesday, mid 90s on Wednesday, with a slight chance of storms. So that's the forecast that you need to know about. Now let's get into the news you can use. And this is pretty much the top story on every station, whether we were watching or listening to some of the news stories today. Francis Howell School District board members planning to introduce measures prohibiting classroom discussions on gender identity and require the board to approve every book purchased or donated in the district. The board at its meeting on Thursday, today, considering several proposals, including one that would allow anyone who lives in the district to call for bans on particular books and classroom materials. Feel free to weigh in anytime you hear me do the news you can use, because it really is more talker stories, right? Some parents and teachers are outraged at the board's latest move. Another measure would ban books that contain, quote, explicit descriptions of sexual conduct, normalize alcohol and drug use, repeated profanity, and purposeful conduct that injures the body or property of another in a manner that would be a crime. The policy does allow board members to consider exceptions for religious text, classic literature, and nonfiction books. As you can imagine, folks, this has people on both sides of the argument wanting to weigh in. Well, that's what this meeting is about tonight. It is the first ever that you're hearing a lot of this, that the board is going to actually be bringing it to the table. So you can expect long lines of people, I think, wanting to be in this meeting tonight. Expect that to be a long meeting, and then we'll be following up for you and letting you know what comes from that. This was a scary situation in South County. There was emergency crews arriving on the scene in a West St. Louis County neighborhood. They successfully rescued a man who was briefly trapped by a trench collapse. It happened before 3:30 in the afternoon in the 300 block of Hillcrest Boulevard. That's located in Winchester, by the way. It happened yesterday afternoon. The Metro West Fire Protection District said the trench was approximately 8 feet deep. Now, fortunately, the collapse was only went up to the worker's waist. It took less than 2 hours to free him. But how scary, Michelle was talking about her husband working in that industry, and he used to get so frustrated when he would not see those trenches covered up, because, just think of kids or people walking their dogs going along and just falling right in that. That was an actual construction worker, but how scary was that? Okay, for those that live near Coldwater Creek, there is a story out that says that they now have to put more signs near Coldwater Creek that talk about radioactive waste that has been found in or near the area. There have been calls to post these warning signs since 1996, but soon the signs may finally be installed. Dawn Chapman is with the Just Moms STL advocacy group, and she said, I quote, I think that this week we are further along than we've ever been at getting proper signs put up along Coldwater Creek. Radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project and subsequent nuclear weapons programs carelessly stored near St. Louis Lambert International Airport and leaked into the creek for decades. Now, I do have some news for all of you that love to buy your own fireworks. Today is the first day of fireworks being put on sale. Remember, there are some areas where it is illegal. That is St. Louis County and that is St. Louis City. But if you're here in certain areas of St. Charles County, St. Charles City, you have to look into your particular area as to whether or not it is allowed in your area. I can tell you in Jefferson County, it is allowed. So one of the busiest areas is actually 141 and 21. There's a ton of tents that I just drove by that are up. St. Charles County, as we drove in off 94, they're all getting prepared for you as well. They're all ready for this. So again, you'll see a lot of that starting with the sales today. And here's some proposed changes, again, that I talked about earlier to the learning and the reading materials from Francis Howell. If you are a person who is frustrated with interest rates, I do actually have some news that came across this morning with regards to the housing side, and we need to bring Dot Fleshman back on to talk about this. If you are looking to purchase a home, buy a home, I actually have some good news for you. From the latest federal rates, they're saying that they're actually down a bit, which is good news, but not with regards to credit cards. Credit card rates are actually at a the highest they've ever been since they started actually looking into rates. 27% average rate if you let every single month your credit card bills continue to accumulate the interest rates. That's what you're paying, folks. 27%. That's just nuts. Mortgage rates, though, are declining. Here's some good news for you. Down to 6.97% last week, 7.02% today. 2 weeks of increasing applications, and tonight they will have experts who will be talking on the trends. And we'll want to talk about that with our expert in the field, and that, of course, is Dot Fleshman. So Dot's going to have to come back on and talk about those interest rates lowering and if that's actually going to be a good thing for those of you looking to purchase a home. All right, a couple more sports stories. The Cards, unfortunately, literally with a walk-off. I mean, that's not a good way to end a game. They lost to Miami 4-3. This tonight, though, is going to be a historic night. They will be in Birmingham, Alabama, and that is to play against the San Francisco Giants, playing a game at Rickwood Field in Birmingham to honor the game's Negro League roots. They will have a moment of silence, and it'll have a little bit more of a powerful connection after the loss of the late, great Willie Mays. Rest in peace, sir, but they will be honoring him this evening. If you get a chance or you have family and friends like we do that are in Birmingham, you might want to tell them to go wear their Cardinal red and support our wonderful Cardinals and give the honor to the Negro League. St. Louis City SC fans, they were in action, and unfortunately, it was a hot one and they lost. So some hot heads. 3-0 was the final for Colorado over our St. Louis City SC. All right, you are all caught up to date in news, in weather, in sports. That's what I think you needed to know for the morning. We're live. If you can't see behind me, let me put it up on the screen. Pawsitive Talk Time. That's what we do every other Thursday. And a lot of times we get a chance to sit down and talk with the owner, Jessica Cook. But as you know, a couple of weeks ago, we talked with the general manager here, who's been with her for almost 20 years, talked about the levels that they've gone through and the expansion of the services and everything they're able to do for you here. We are now going to talk about the training aspect. Kennedy Ray is the trainer here at Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, Cottleville location, and there's an O'Fallon, Missouri location. Well, we need, and I say we as pet owners need this training. So today we're going to show you some simple tools to make your dog a well-mannered, more behaved dog. And a lot of it starts with you. Yes, us. We need to be more aware of what we might be doing wrong. So Kennedy Ray will join me in the pink chairs when we return.
She's a special woman and done so much for St. Louis.
Watching her work is one of the most incredible things you can see.
She just sees value in everyone.
Sometimes people just need you to sit with them and hear them. I feel heard.
Time flew by, and it was like sitting and talking to a friend.
Not only creating a better place here in St. Louis, but to inspire others. It's always great to have examples like you.
You have such a light and such a presence, and I could feel it this morning.
We knew right away when you started this, we wanted to be on your show. Thanks for having us.
I look forward to seeing how you rock and roll and shake it up.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Oh, who doesn't love free, free, free? All right, welcome back. Thursday, June 20th. And I'm going to have to take this down because she's tinier than I am. Kennedy Ray, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm so thrilled to have you with us because we need your help. And I say we because it is us, isn't it?
I'm here to help. Yeah.
It's not the dogs that you're here barking behind you. It's us as parents, as the owners of the dogs. We need to make sure that we do our due diligence. And when training is underway, it is that we carry it out.
Exactly.
Right?
Consistency is key.
Oh, that's the word of the day. Consistency, consistency, consistency.
Yes.
So my team is here. We're actually going to show you a little bit of the inside of Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa. So when you drop your dogs off, there's so many levels. And Kennedy, I don't think sometimes realize all the things that you provide here, the services. Yes. My nephew didn't even. He thought, I thought it was just a resort.
Oh, no, there's so much going on. Not just the rescues. We have the grooming, training, boarding, play camp, and everything in between. So we have everything for whatever your dog may need.
Yes, and you can hear them today because it's feeding time.
Oh, yeah, it's breakfast time back there. So they're all super excited.
So there's the shop, by the way, and you can come in and grab a toy, those cookies, by the way. My dogs love the cookies.
There's some good stuff back there.
And actually, if Michelle keeps walking, all the way to the back is a do-it-yourself grooming, isn't it?
Yep, we have the self-wash, so it's $25. You can bring your dog in. We provide the shampoos and towels and the dryers and everything. So you can just give your dog your own spa day here.
Yeah, and that's actually something you can do. I wouldn't tell you to do it regularly because leave it up to the pros. There's such a difference that are done. And Jessica's told us before, Kennedy, that one of the important things is to make sure that those nails are trimmed.
Yes.
You can just bring them in and do a stop-in nail trim.
We do walk-in nail trims, and I typically tell people every 4 to 6 weeks getting your nails filed back just so that the quicks continue to recede and they'll be nice and short.
Okay, and then outside, we're going to be going for you soon. That is the area where they do a lot of training, and Bubba is out there. Bubba's walking along. Bubba is so there he is. Bubba is so beautiful. I'm surprised that he hasn't been snatched up already because he's gorgeous. How long has he been here?
Oh, he's been here for way too long. It's hard to even tell. I think at least 6 months he's been
way too long. I'm surprised because people love labs.
They do, but his size can be a little bit intimidating, but that's where the training comes in.
Yes, amen. And he's a gentle giant, you said,
right?
He is.
He loves everyone, down from little tiny puppies, kids, bigger dogs. He gets along with everyone.
Everyone and everything. And there he is, by the way, on the right side. And there's you. Let's go and talk about your background. So you've been a trainer for how long?
I've been training dogs for about 3 years now.
Okay.
I first started off when I was 10 working with horses. I was a stable hand.
Oh.
So I think that kind of helped me not be afraid of getting super hands-on with bigger animals or more not as predictable animals, because these horses were still in training too. A lot of them were very young. Went on to showing horses, and then I started grooming almost 10 years ago, and that really helped with training as well because I was already used to pressure and release and watching dogs' body language and kind of reading them to go about the groom, basically. So,
and isn't that a key in life that we need to pay attention more?
Yes. Being still helps out so much with this, and just watching the dog because they're feeding off of you as well. So if you take a moment to step back, you're going to notice so many subtle hints that your own dog is giving you that you might not pick up on if you're all over the place or your mind's not as clear as it should be in the moment.
Yeah. So if you're dismissing those things, this is the reason why people label dogs as being bad dogs. And it's not. It's all these things that somebody from the outside, Kennedy, might be like, oh, wow, they totally just missed what happened there.
Exactly.
If you're just tuning in, Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville is where we are this morning. And I want to thank Ashlyn and Michelle here with me. Kelsey is at home. She's moderating. She'll be dropping in things for you. We're looking at Kennedy actually going through and doing training. And sometimes we look at this, Kennedy. We've all said this as dog moms, dog dads, parents, right? Oh my gosh, my dog can never do that.
Yeah. And
right? They always say those are talented dogs. They can't do that.
Right. But unlocking dogs' potential is one of my favorite things to do. And it's so fun seeing the owners realize that their dogs have so much more to them than they think originally. But yeah, it's really great because especially with the rescues, finding these dogs who don't have homes, that excel in agility or obedience, or they could be like therapy dogs for some of them. It's just seeing what makes them tick, basically.
Can I ask this though? Is that you training with Theo?
Yep, that's Theo.
I love Theo. So Theo, by the way, was one of our dogs that we were so proud that we got adopted out. Thank you to the Real Monica Adams viewers for kind of putting that out there. We always stress to you, share these stories we do, share these videos, share the pictures. Theo, right there on the right side, went to the most perfect home, which I just absolutely love. Theo was deaf.
He is deaf, yep. And I think it's really important for people to understand that just because a dog might have limitations, they're not necessarily limitations. That's just the human perception of it. He's doing just fine not being able to hear, and a lot of people would pass him up because they're like, we can't train a deaf dog. How are you supposed to communicate with them?
Right.
But he excelled. He did so well with everything.
He did hand movements, right? And really watching the eyes.
He's great at watching. And when he wasn't paying attention, we did e-collar training. So we would teach him to come when you would vibrate the collar, and just different ways to communicate with him besides verbal communication that he understands.
Again, training. It is key. Here's the question I'm going to ask you though, because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I didn't do it, Kennedy, when they were puppies, and now I can't teach an old dog new tricks.
No, you can. You absolutely can. It's never too late.
And that is something that we've been taught for something. I don't know whoever came up with that, but I have watched you do remarkable work with all ages. You've been with Yuppy Puppy for how long?
Since I got out of dog training school. So I think 2.5, 3 years now.
You are amazing. I want you to follow Yuppy Puppy online, Facebook, Instagram. You're on TikTok as well.
Yep, we're on TikTok, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so watch them, because first of all, it's just going to fill your feet up with beautiful animals.
It's really fun.
But right, it is. And we share a lot of those, but really it's also the fact that we enjoy watching, like, holy cow, she just did that in a matter of minutes. Can you update us on the wonderful work you've been doing with Jalapeno?
Oh yeah, so Jalapeno, we've been working on making him more mobile, basically. So I've been doing water therapy with him. I know a lot of the boarding staff members have been helping me out with that too, because I know it doesn't seem like much, but he didn't know how to use those muscles before. So taking some of that weight and pressure off of his back end is allowing him to figure out how to use those back muscles. And now he's starting to stand on his own a little bit. And with the wheelchair time and all that good stuff, he's been doing really, really well. He's improved a lot.
That is what I talked about last time. I was so shocked when I had him here with us. And it's funny because Jessica, the owner, mentioned, sometimes I wonder if he wasn't so mobile, if he would have been adopted already, because people who are expecting him to be in the wheels to slow down, but he just...
Oh, he's so fast.
Yeah.
He is fully capable. He's very much able. People look at the limitations and they don't want to go into that because of it, which sucks, but
it does. And that's the perfect word, Kennedy. It does suck.
But I understand it is a commitment. So if you're not ready for it, I don't want someone to come who isn't ready and regret their decision.
And return. Can we please talk about that? I just heard from Michelle. She's like, did you by chance see that Justin was returned? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Why was Justin returned?
So Justin was returned because they had little ones and he would resource guard. Which
means what?
It means that he's kind of holding their toys or his toys or other objects hostage, and he won't let anyone near them. So I understood why he did that. He's been in a rescue or a shelter for years, and he never really had anything of his own besides his room. We gave him a crate, which he loves his crate, and so he would resource guard it. The little ones would be running around, and he's like, hey, this is mine.
Right.
You're in my space, and he's just trying to protect it. There's different ways to handle that. I like to teach them a good drop it command if they have something in their mouth so that it's safer to retrieve that object. But also reward them for giving it back to you so that they understand you're not going to get in trouble for it. This is just not yours. It's all about establishing the boundaries from the start and continuing on with them so that they understand what they can and can't do.
You know, Kennedy, you and I are so similar. You help heal the spirit and the mind of animals. I do life coaching with people, and you and I both use the exact same word, boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries are huge in life, right?
They're
You
so
think about
important.
toxic people that try to come into your life, people who try to take you away from where you belong in your path, and you say, you got to set boundaries, right?
And
You got to take care of you.
Yes, and it goes both ways with dog training. I mean, you have to respect your dog's boundaries, but you also have to implement your own boundaries so that your dog's not jumping all over you. It's cute when they're a little puppy, but once they get to be 80 pounds, it's not as fun. Exactly. And if the dog knows from the beginning that this isn't acceptable, then they're going to go throughout their whole life understanding that.
Right.
But you have to be consistent with it.
Because ultimately, and we've said this over and over and over again, they are put here on earth and they truly do want to please you.
Yes, they love love. Like, that's all they want is love, basically.
Is this Bubba?
This is Sandy.
Sandy. I was gonna say that. It looks a little smaller.
She was one of our past rescues who was adopted. I had a very close relationship with her. There's some that I just bond a little closer to. And she, at the beginning, we got her from Pet Adoption Center, and she went through a training program with me. We gave her back at the end of the program. She was still, unfortunately, put on the euthanasia list, so she came back to us. And I spent a lot of time with her. She's just so high energy that she doesn't know what to do with herself, and she had no direction. So once I kind of gave her direction, I did a lot of different things with her to kind of occupy her brain so that she didn't just have to sit there and vibrate wondering, what am I going to do next? She could look to me for direction.
Yeah.
I ended up taking her home for a weekend so I could see how she was in a home environment. And she was phenomenal. She laid on the couch. She wanted to sleep in bed. She did great in the crates. I live by Forest Park, so it's a very active area. We went for a walk. She walked beautifully on a leash, wasn't distracted by everything going on. And it's really fun to see how different she was from when she first came to when she got adopted. And she got adopted by an amazing lady who they just get along so well, and it's like the best thing ever to see.
And ultimately, that's what they're trying to do here, right? So Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, as you can see, let me put this behind us. We are in the Cottleville location. Do you train at both or just here?
I just train here.
Okay.
I'll go over to the Wing Haven location if we're having like events or something like that. All the fun stuff I will go to Wing for.
If you haven't been to that, again, just off the Wing Haven exit off of 64, I want you to follow them online and on all of their social media platforms. Do you have any meet and greets coming up?
I believe we do. I know Jessica just got back, so we're going to start
she was in
going.
Spain. Have you seen her pictures? Oh, you know what? And it warmed our heart because she was able to spend some really amazing time with her father.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk to her in July about how great that was.
Which is super important.
It was. Yes, family.
Yes. But yeah, keep up with the Facebook and stuff to see some of these events that we have. And even if you go through training, it's going to help your dog be more comfortable at these events where there's more going on and lots of people around and other dogs, just kind of keeping them at peace during all of the chaos. Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're visiting with the wonderful Kennedy Ray. She's the trainer right here at Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville. How about we go outside where you do a lot of your work? Yeah. And we see what you can do with Bubba. Absolutely. Bubba, 2 years old, loves everybody, loves everything. What a perfect, I hate to use the word perfect. What an incredible dog to be able to bring into your home. I know a lot of people love labs. Maybe this is the one for you. So be ready to watch Bubba, watch what she's able to do with Bubba, and then the simple tools that you can do with your dogs at home. I'm going to ask you some things that we could just start to make our dogs more well-behaved.
Yes,
all right?
absolutely.
More with Kennedy when we return.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
You are truly an incredible human being, and just what you're doing is so inspiring. This was really a cathartic experience for me. So I appreciate you, love you.
It's been an honor to not only just be here on set with you, but just to sit in your presence. You inspire everyone around you, from your motivational speaking to your podcast here, to just being the human that you are.
It's just such a joy to be able to see you at this point in your career. Really following your passion, fulfilling your dreams, and encouraging other people to do the same.
I feel that I've been missing out. I believe God places people like you in people's lives for a reason. You have definitely been a God wing for me.
Welcome back. We are outside. We are going to see what Kennedy can do with Bubba. Bubba is up for adoption, by the way. 2 years old, loves everyone, loves everything. So I'm going to kind of talk you through because they won't be able to hear Kennedy that far over. So Kennedy,
I am rewarding him.
Place
training right now.
For place training right now, okay?
And what this does is kind of get his mind right. I start with this.
So she's starting to get his mind connected, right? So this is the beginning phases.
Exactly.
So he's just watching you.
And I'm rewarding him for watching me.
Yeah, so that's the thing that Kennedy talked about is they need positive reinforcement. So how long does it take, Kennedy, for them to understand that that's their place command, getting up on that?
You know, it really depends on how much you work with them. If you do it multiple times every day, dogs pick up on it so quickly.
So go ahead and let's see you take him from here, standing next to you, and go on to the place command. So see, he wants to walk around it. Oh, there it is. All four paws.
And as soon as he gets up there, I'm going to tell him good, to let him know that what he did was correct.
And one of the things I've learned in the past from training our dog Tessa, which again, I got to get Adelaide trained as well, is that it has to be immediate, right? There are so many parts that are happening that they don't know what the positive reinforcement was. So as soon, our trainer in the past said, as soon as all four paws are on there, immediately.
Yep,
is that right?
They understand. So right here, nope, climb. So that's the other side of it. I just gave him a little correction for not doing what I wanted to do. What that looks like is just a little pop on the leash, but once he's back up there, good. I'm going to reward him for doing what I want him to do again.
Look, he's like, I want more.
I know.
All right. Let's see. What would be the next step of taking him off of that and then going into another training?
Yeah, so when I want him to release him, his command is free. You're free. And you notice how he comes on over and he's still hanging around looking for direction. He's seeing what we're going to do next. So we can go into sits. Bubba, I know you're distracted. Here.
So are your TREATSs in your bag?
Yes, they are.
Does he smell them and know that?
I always carry treats around with me, so I think a lot of the rescues look at me as the treat lady.
They see you as one big treat, Kennedy.
Exactly, and I like to make it fun for them. So I like to play with them during training and make it enjoyable because they're a lot more receptive that way.
He's like, I just want to lay down on the job.
I know, he's like, it's hot out here. I think leash walking is also a very important thing to teach your dog, just because with him being so big, he could drag me down the street if he wanted to. So we do a lot of loose leash walking training, and he does so well with it. We've taken him on parades through Cottleville and everything, and he will walk right next to my side because I'm rewarding him for it. I'm letting him know that that's what he's supposed to be doing.
Let me give two key things that you just said. One, loose leash. Loose leash training. Can you stress that? Because there's so many people who are tugging and choking their animals.
Yep. So if you are walking a dog around and the leash is super, super tight like this, the dog's wanting to pull against it. You see how he's pulling against it?
Now he's leaning into me.
That's called opposition reflex. So he's going against the pressure. Now if the leash is loose and I give him a command, which is walk for leash walking, Bubba, walk, I'm able to leave this leash loose so that if he starts to pull, I'm able to pop it over to me to let him know the direction. Rather than a tug or keeping it taut, a little pop on the leash, they're a lot more receptive to that.
Can I try?
Absolutely.
So this is the big thing, right? Is just to be real, because I'm not his trainer.
And so that's another thing, is expectations.
Yes.
He has these expectations with me, and we're creating them with you.
Okay.
So this food's a little bit...
He's like, oh, I got another treat, lady.
So what I do is I ball this up, and I just let him eat little pieces off of it. He does it really gently, and he walks on your left side.
Okay.
And I know that.
Now, is that a good thing of what they're doing? Or?
Nope, which is why I kind of ignored it. I didn't reward it. I didn't push him off of me, but he understands.
He's like, where is
that
it?
doesn't get me the attention.
Right, you can't do that because you have to be in control.
Exactly.
Right?
So I like to hold the food in my left hand.
Left hand?
Where he is, and then I show him, and I'll tell him good and reward him right off the bat.
Okay, good.
There you go. And now just tell him to walk.
Okay, let's walk. Baba?
And then just give some pops. The walk is it's on you. It's your decision. So if he wants to stop, nope, walk. Yep, and go ahead and just start walking.
And here's my question. I've always heard that the dog shouldn't be in front of you. Is that true or not? See, or is this an old wives' tale?
You know, it's preference. I have some people who come to me for training and they want their dog to be in front of them. I have other people who want their dog to be right next to them, and I have some that want their dog to just stay next to their side. So it all depends on where you reward the dog. I reward the dog, so right there say nope, pop the leash, and walk.
Good.
Exactly.
Good.
Very good.
Boy.
And now reward him for going back.
Good boy, right here. Oh, yum, yum.
And you see, you're rewarding him in the perfect spot, which is right next to you, where you want him to be.
Okay.
If he knows his reward is coming from right there, that's most likely where he's going to stay.
Sit.
And so right there.
Sit. Good boy.
Very
good boy. He's like, lady, you gave it all to me. Sit.
So the more you... Here, I'll give you some more. The more you practice with him, the more he's going to see you and say, oh, this lady, we do training. These are my expectations. I'm not allowed to jump on her. I have to walk right next to her, and I have to be respectful.
Good boy. Good boy. He's so... You see that? How playful he is? He's like,
he's
yes.
so eager. And that's why I like to do things through play.
So how long should we be training in a day? I like that how she said that.
It depends on what your goals are.
Not yet.
So right there, you can pop your leash.
We're walking.
It depends on what your goals are for how much training you do a day. With me and my dogs, it's more of a lifestyle because it's never ending. It's very consistent. So it starts from the moment I wake up and I get my dogs out of the crate. I don't let them out of the crate until I tell them free. And that kind of sets up...
Look at you all the way.
Oh,
that's a good boy. Did you see that? I did it.
But even from the very beginning of the morning, when I go to get my dogs out of the crate, I don't let them out until I tell them free. And that kind of sets the tone for the day. Okay, I can't walk all over Mom today because she's already on top of me.
Right.
They get out of their crate, they go straight to their climb. So right now it's like a routine. Which is
you're so good.
Very necessary for dogs. They do very well with the routine, but the more you work on it, sometimes it's just 1 or 2 sessions a day to help you guys out with getting the preferred behaviors.
Good boy. Wow. See this? Okay. This dog could be yours. This is Bubba, 2 years old, so playful, ready to please you. That's the biggest thing that we always say. Oh my gosh, he is so good. I know so many of you love labs. Oh yeah, you got to be ready for the shedding.
But he does get 50% off of grooming, so that'll help out.
All right, I want you to stand right here with him, look right there at the camera, and sell it like you've never sold it before for people to adopt him. And then we'll go to a break right after that.
Can you sit? So he does so good with all other people, dogs, puppies, big dogs. He does great in louder environments. Can you sit? Nope. Sit. He's been to parades. He's been right next to music venues with concerts going on. And he loves being around people. He loves the attention. He loves seeing what's going on and just being a part of things. But he's also pretty chill. So once you wear him out a little bit and you take him to these events, he's one that's just going to lay by your feet and hang out and watch and see what's going on. He also does great in the cars, so here he goes now, probably going to lay down and just chill out. He does great in the cars and everything, and really, he, in my eyes, is basically flawless. I mean, he's huge, but he's very well-mannered, so I don't
love it.
The size a negative at all, just because he's such a chill, good boy. If you want to play, he's down to play with you, but we've been teaching him boundaries so that when he gets maybe a little bit too rough because of his size, too excited, he knows when to stop. That's when the fun ends.
So good. Again, that's Bubba, and Bubba could be yours. That's Kennedy Ray with Bubba, available if you look through Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa. Watch online on their social media channels and on their website. I would love to hear that he was adopted from one of our viewers here with the Real Monica Adams team. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go more through the basic training that you can do. And I'm going to look at your comments. We haven't had a chance to see what your questions are, and I did see a few of them coming in for Kennedy. We'll do that when we return.
When I started My Pillow, it was just a problem solution one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use My Pillows, $25. My Pillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium My Pillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Free, you gotta love that. We also want to thank, yes, getting in the pool spirit, Just Pools and Spa. You're seeing the inside of Just Pools and Spa specialists down in the Arnold, Missouri area. Look at those hot tubs. I know you think it's hot outside. Do we really want hot tubs? Why not? You go from the pool water and then you pop on over into the hot tub. Those pool toys are there for you as well. Everything that you need for your outdoor extravaganza in your own backyard. Just Pools and Spas. They're on the West Outer Road in Arnold, Missouri. And look at all that tropical look. That could be your backyard. You could be the talk of the town, trust me. Look into them. Support those that support us. Thank you, Madonna and the staff at Just Pools and Spas in Arnold. Aren't we having fun today? 7:42. Welcome back. Monica Adams, your host of the Real Monica Adams Show. We've got Kennedy Ray, who showed us so many great things with Bubba that you can do with your own dog. Let me bring Kennedy back in here because we've got some questions that are coming in. You're so good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
She's great. She's been doing this for a while, but with Yuppy Puppy for the last couple of years. So we gave a little background. She started with horses, etc. We're getting some training basics. So let's see. Let me go back. Somebody had asked you a question. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was Rose.
Ever have excessive barkers?
Something about excessive. Oh, here it is. Kennedy. Ever have excessive barkers? Our dogs run to the window if another dog or people walks by, but if they see them in person, they wag their tail instead.
Sure. So with that, it's very common for barrier reactivity. So if there's a window in between, or you might see it if a dog's in a crate, they might be a little bit reactive when they see other people or dogs walk by. Mm-hmm. What I do if the dog is out of the crate and it might be a window is what I was doing with Bubba, the place training. Mm-hmm. I'll put them on, we call it a climb. So I'll put them on their climb and I'll reward them for not barking. So it's kind of just redirecting them to something more positive.
Okay.
What I like to do also with the barking is teach my dogs that when they hear a knock on the door or the doorbell rings, rather than charging to the door and barking, they either run to their climb or their crate because they get rewarded for it. Yes. So the more you reward them not barking, the more that they're going to realize, okay, I get treats for not barking and I'm a lot more calm about it too. Yes. So let's just chill with that. There are some dogs who, let's say, like I live in an apartment and I had one dog who, when I was gone, would have separation anxiety and would bark and he would get himself so overwhelmed. And that's where I might use a training collar. There's many different training collars you can use, but it's important to use them correctly for these reasons. Yes. So I would use a bark collar on the lowest setting. It's more,
I'm so glad you said that, because people will jack that up and it frustrates me because they're like, oh, it's no big deal. And I said, put it on yourself.
Right, exactly. So I always start by using a really low setting. So basically what I did was whenever he would bark, it senses the vibrations and it'll give him a small correction. And basically just annoys him until he doesn't want to bark anymore. But I like to be there at the beginning so that when he is quiet, I might open his crate door, say good, and give him a couple pieces of kibble or a treat to let him know that when he's quiet, that's exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Then, if he's quiet for an extended amount of time or on their climb and there's people walking by, you free him.
And again, if you have a really well-behaved dog, you would be shocked at this, but when you put them on the climb or whatever that they realize that's where I'm supposed to place, if they are so well-behaved, they will stay there no matter what distractions going on, right?
Oh, yeah. So with my little lab, she might be in bed with me taking a nap, which is something that she had to earn over time. She didn't sleep in bed with me for probably 2 years. And if she gets up in the middle of the night, she'll go to her climb. She's stuck there till I wake up in the morning. So I've woken up some mornings. I don't know how long she's been on there, but she's asleep on her climb, just chilling, because even if she puts herself there, she knows she's not allowed to get off until I come out and tell her free.
And give the free word. Now, this is a question that came up years ago. Do you have to find the right word that connects with their brain? It doesn't always have to be free. Does it need to always be place and free?
No.
Or I think the guy who trained my dog, he would say place, and then he would go release.
Yeah, so it's personal preference because dogs don't understand English. So you're basically...
What do they speak?
Exactly. They learn through conditioning, basically. So if you pair a word with an action, they're going to start realizing that that word means that action. So for my lab, she knows English commands. She knows some German commands.
Plutz?
Plutz, yep, for down. Boost for heel.
Yep.
And so it's really whatever you want. You can tell your dog banana for your heel command, and the dog's going to learn over time that banana means walk next to mom.
That's okay. Again, Kennedy, if you have any questions about things that your dog is doing wrong. So one of the age-old problems is that you just mentioned, people come over to the house. Maybe they're all dressed up. You're having a beautiful dinner party, right? You don't want the dog jumping on your guest. Although it looks like, oh, but they're cute and it's fun. I will say, and this is where I used to get it wrong, because you're in the heat of the moment that it's happening. You don't want to say down, right? Because that's, you want to say off, don't you?
Right. Yep. So yes.
But you don't want to say down because that's like a command to go down.
And it just depends on how you teach them.
Okay.
You can have down for not jumping and plots, the German word for lay down. It's all completely up to you, but other people just have to understand what your commands are for your dog.
So it's consistent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Consistency is
So
key.
so this is the big one that I wanted to get across. And you ask, again, she's the expert. So today's Ask the Dog Expert. What do you want her to teach you? And you can simply say, hey, Kennedy, can you show us the beginning phases of how we even get a chance to do this? If right now I have a dog who's going to be 5 in about 2 weeks, and I need her to be better trained, because here's what she loves everyone, just like Bubba.
Sure.
Loves everyone. She's everybody's best friend. And although she's small, that dog has some crazy plyometric skills.
Oh, yeah.
She can jump up about probably chest high to them. And she's just like, hi, I love you. But I know that they don't want that.
Right.
Some people think it's funny and they like it.
Right.
We encourage, right? We shouldn't do that. How do we start to break that?
Yeah, so I start off with keeping a leash on my dog in the house and kind of setting it up. So maybe ringing your doorbell or walking through the front door. Set it up so that it's a situation where you know she's going to be jumping on you.
Okay.
So that you're able and you're prepared to correct the behavior. So I don't use my hands to push them off at all, because that's still rewarding them. You're still touching them. They're still getting what they want.
Good point.
And some dogs turn that into a game and they want to jump more. So I take the leash and I pop it downwards. So I'll say no, pop the leash downwards and say off. Soon enough, the dog's going to realize that they get attention when there's 4 on the floor. 4 paws on the floor gets them the pets. So once they start to realize that and you're consistent with it, they'll understand that they're not allowed to jump.
This is the True Connect 4 game, everybody.
Exactly.
So, all right, today I'm going to go home this afternoon. I'm going to practice with Adelaide because she's the only one that's doing this. So you want me to have her on a leash And then who's ringing the doorbell? My husband coming in?
However you want to set it up. If she's going to jump on your husband, then yes, have him ring
She
the
jumps on
doorbell.
everybody.
Yeah, and it'll be easier if you're controlling the leash. So as soon as she jumps, say no. We're going to mark it with that word so that she understands she did something wrong.
And then do we reward that, or we're not rewarding?
Nope, we're not rewarding
Gotcha.
that. So after you say no, that's when you're going to take your leash and do a couple pops downwards.
Okay.
Keep in mind, her adrenaline's going to be up. So you might have to do a bigger correction because she's not going to feel a tiny little pop on the leash when she's in that state of mind.
Right.
And it might take a couple of times, but the more you work on it and the more she realizes that jumping doesn't get her attention, the quicker she's going to learn that, oh, okay, I get all of my pets if I'm just chill with all 4 paws on the floor.
Again, trying to get that calm energy, which is so key. How do we then transition off the leash? When does that happen?
Yeah, so basically, I keep the leash on for a long time.
Sounds like it.
Like, especially with my lab, I know I talk about her a lot, but she has taught me so much. When she would be out in my house or my apartment or wherever we may be, if I'm visiting my parents, she has a leash on her, just in case, because I can't read her mind. I wish I could, but if she gets into something or something unexpected happens, I'm going to need that to communicate with her. A lot of communication happens through the leash.
Okay.
After she realizes that and that she's not allowed to jump on guests and she's where I want her to be, that's when I'll start phasing away from the leash a little bit more. If you don't want the leash on forever, I recommend e-collar training.
Okay.
It sounds a lot scarier than it is, but if you do it properly and use the right tools, it can save your dog's life. It can really help your relationship with your dog.
And so how do we begin that e-collar training?
Yeah, so I have mine right here, actually.
Oh, it's as if we set this up and we didn't.
So this is one of the e-collars I like to use. It's a mini educator. And I really like this collar because there's a lot of different settings on it.
I'm going to let her put this on me on my wrist.
Yeah.
I want to feel it. And I'm going to give you my my real reaction.
So take this right here and hold it in the palm of your hand.
Palm of my hand?
Yep.
Okay. Folks, by the way, this is what it looks like. If you've never had one, I had one of these for Kaylee when she was trained. God rest your soul, Kaylee. You were great. But I did this live on the air to say, oh, okay, here's what it feels like. I'm going to tell you in just a second.
So most of the dogs I work with are between a level, depending on their drive, energy level, all that good stuff, a 5, and maybe we'll get up to 25 if there's a lot of distractions, depending on the dog. So I'll start you off at a 5. That was it.
I don't feel anything.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. I was like, wait. Okay. No, for those of you, by the way, that go to chiropractors or type of therapy and they do the electrodes and all of a sudden they say, tell us when it's enough. Is it the same kind of feeling?
It is. And it almost feels like tingly, like your foot's falling
I didn't
asleep.
even feel a tingle.
So
that was a 5?
Yep. And
Okay.
I can't feel it till like a 12. So here's a 10. You feel it again?
No.
So I'll just say no. Push it in. So we'll go up to a 13.
I like odd numbers, by the way. So it's I bet you for me.
Okay. So let's do 15. So I'll say no.
I'm strong. I don't
You
feel
feel it?
anything. yet.
Okay, let's go up. Here's a 20. Nope. Do you feel that one?
No. You put it on.
Let's see. Watch my remote not even be on.
All of a sudden it's like, oh!
I know, right? Here. I reset it.
Just
So
like
let's
here.
try.
Okay. Now all it did was just like a little bump.
Yeah, just a
A little
like-
vibration.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so what was that level?
So that was an 11.
Okay, so at an 11, the dog would just be like, what?
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
you just
exactly.
tapped me, right?
Exactly.
Okay, let's see what it feels like a little bit higher. And I want you guys to understand this because this isn't for you to be cruel to your dog. Understand that would then, wouldn't that be a lack of trust between you and the dog at that point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the dog's going to have an extra layer of anxiety. I like for the dogs to be excited when they see these collars. So here's a 17.
Okay, yeah, just like a little pulse inside of my muscle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dare I?
I have a low pain tolerance, so I don't encourage that.
She's like, don't do that. Okay, so e-collar training, and again, neither one of us make any money off of this. Is there anywhere in particular that you say are the best to get these?
I mean, I like the Mini Educator brand, and I also really like the Dogtra brand.
Dog what?
Dogtra. Dogtra.
Okay.
I like them because they go from a level 0 up to like a 97, 98, I believe. So that
it goes that high.
It does, just so that depending on the dog or the situation.
Oh, so like if we're talking about two dogs getting ready to meet and they're getting ready to maybe go after each other, you take that up higher or no?
No.
No,
so
bad
I
Monica.
do not use the e-collar to split up dog fights at all.
You just get them away from each other.
You recall them. Or you do a command. And if they don't listen to that command, that's when you correct them.
See why we need her?
If your dogs are fighting or getting into it with another dog and you crank up the remote, they might think that that correction came from the other dog, which amps them up even more and makes them more intense. So you want to be really careful about when you use it, but that's why we do lessons.
Do one more for me.
Okay.
So I want you to all know my real reaction to what this would feel like if I'm trying to get some attention.
You want like a 25?
Sure.
Okay. Nope.
Oh, I'm just kidding. No, but it is a little, yes, that one would get my attention.
Exactly.
What do you want, Mom?
Right.
I'll do it. You know what? This is a good point. My dog was attacked by a dog in the neighborhood, scared the living out of me. It's never happened before. Didn't know why it happened. But what happened, and you tell me whether this was right or not, because my mom kept saying, well, don't walk her back near that. And I said, well, I'm trying to get her to trust again. Was that okay for me to do? Because every time she came anywhere near what she remembered, no, her hair would stand up. Right.
Yes. And it only takes one negative interaction to really change a dog's perception of other dogs or situations. So what I like to do is make it positive for them again.
Positive talk time.
Exactly. So I carry a high value reward. That might be hot dogs. That might be hot dogs. That might be boiled chicken, just something that your dog really loves. Or it can be like a ball or a tug toy if your dogs are more toy motivated than food motivated. And I'm just going to make it super fun. So start off with a big or a longer threshold away from the area that scares her. Reward her for being kind of around it, and then slowly start to close that threshold between whatever's scary or the environment that's scaring her and what you guys are doing.
We're watching something live, by the way. So these dogs are being dropped off. There's a lot of energy.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you do to correct some of this?
So what I do is I would bring my dog in and put it on
Should she have picked the dog up like that?
It doesn't really look anxious.
Okay.
I don't like to do that when they're anxious because basically telling the dog, no, it's okay to be scared. I got you.
So she's just saying goodbye for the day.
Exactly.
Or maybe they're at the resort for a week.
Right.
So they're going to miss them.
It might be a longer stay for them. But I like to come in, put my dogs up on a climb, which is why we usually have them out in the lobby somewhere so that when dogs who know the place come in, they have a place to go where they can kind of chill out. They know they're safe there and they get rewarded for being up there.
Well, there we go. They're going to get a chance to get rewarded because they're going to be with some incredible people. Everyone that works here truly loves, and I do mean this, loves your animals as much as you do. And when they're waving goodbye. I bet they're going to be gone for a little while. When you are dropping a dog off, even if it's for a day to be trained or it's to the actual resort to be able to be there for a week, you want as much of that same loving that you have. And that's what I have really enjoyed about Jessica and her entire staff is that's how they treat your animals, as if they are your own, right?
They're all my little friends. So I'm going to treat them with the utmost respect.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break again. I want to talk about motivation, right? So one of the things that Kennedy wanted to stress is one of my mantras, knowing your value. What is your dog's value? And I know a lot of you might be like, well, we got to get to know them a little bit better than the way you actually know them now. So we'll talk more with Kennedy Ray when we return. We need women to lift women up.
Let's do that. Let's go. Being on Monica's show, it was like one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Monica's very real, and she really cares about people.
She's changing lives.
Changing lives.
I think this is just really what people want to see.
Giving back so much to the community, and I really appreciate it.
Today, Monica was extraordinarily real, not only with me, but with her viewers and her listeners.
Made the interview process like talking to a friend.
How are you doing? See you. Haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Hey. You're close.
Monica. Whoa.
So go out in this world and be anything you want to be. But before you do that, first, be kind.
Let's go. Let's get the dogs and you trained. And again, consistency. These things you're learning today from Kennedy, you've got to be consistent. And I really would love for you to tell us, if we do these things, these simple tools that you're giving us, like most people want to see a timeline, how quickly would we be able to see improvements?
Yeah, so improvement it can start in the first session if you time it right and you motivate your dog correctly and everything. It really depends on the dog, what issues they're having. So let's say it's a rescue who might have some past traumas. That dog might take a little bit longer to come out of their shell and find something that motivates them and is able to get in the right mindset to be trained than a fresh puppy who thinks everything is so fun and exciting. So it really depends on the dog, what they've been through, kind of their mindset and their personality. I mean, not all people learn the same way or at the same speed. It's kind of the same with dogs. And some dogs have strengths in other areas than other dogs. So it's really all over the board with how long it takes. But again, it depends on your goals. If you want to compete with your dog, that's years and years and years of training.
How did you get in my brain? How did you know that was my next question? Because we're looking at video of simple tools for just obedience. But then people are like, I think my dog might really be talented and want to do these challenges. So how do you start that?
Yeah, so it starts with the basics. Having the dog focused on you. I like to do a lot of engagement is what I call with my dogs. So basically it's just rewarding the dog for focusing on you. So I'll start in a quieter environment, reward the dog for just looking at me. And then I might move out into the lobby with some people coming in and out. And every time the dog's attention goes from whatever's distracting them back to me, I'm going to say good and give them a reward for it. They're going to learn that it's really fun to focus on whoever's handling you because you get paid for it. You get all the snacks for it.
You crack me up on this one. You're like walking the catwalk. Kennedy Ray, again, she can be your trainer. Are you booked up pretty?
I have some openings for mid-July. So, yep. The first step is just setting up an evaluation. It's no charge. You bring your dog in. We have a meeting for about 15, 20 minutes, going over the goals that they have, their dog's personality. If they know what makes them tick, I always ask them what motivates their dogs, and the different programs that we have and what works best with their schedule. I like to really cater the programs to the clients and the dogs. So no two training programs look the same. I kind of go in different.
Cookie cutter.
No, it's not. And it might change based off the day. Dogs have off days like people do. So let's say one of them's extra tired from training all week. I'll tell them to stay home because I want the dogs to feel their best when they're here and working and stuff. So
absolutely. So we have just a few minutes left. We want to talk about motivation. So we have to find out what our dog values. So we think if somebody were to sit down and ask us, well, what do you value in life? What really makes you tick? What's your purpose here? How do we go through their value?
Yeah, so it's kind of trial and error. If you notice that your dog has a lot of interest in balls, start using balls to reward your dog, or some are tug toys. Others, it's a specific type of food. I got lucky with my personal dogs because they'll just work for their kibble, for their dog food. And that really motivates them because they're so food motivated. So just trial and error. Sometimes it's just love, and dogs just want pets and like hugs and kisses for their reward. So
well, because we've been talking about treats, and I think a lot of times, I don't know if anybody's asked the question, but a lot of times people would say, yeah, but if we're just constantly giving them treats, aren't we going to make them fat?
So what I do is, when I was first getting into training with my dogs, is I would substitute their meals for training. They would get their meals through when we would work, and it made them more motivated to train. It would make them focus more because that's how they're getting their meals. They're like, okay, I got to work for it. So yeah, that really helps out with finding their motivation.
Oh, I wish we had a camera out there. I just saw a dog try to take off, and it's like the dog. She was just like, take it. That's hilarious.
That was one of my training dogs.
Oh, you have to train that one today?
Nope, she graduated, but
mom didn't keep up the work.
No, and that's a prime example of they never wanted to do lessons, and so the dog doesn't behave for them at all because they didn't generalize the behaviors. She's very motivated by everything. She loves everything. She's so highly trainable. It's just she has different expectations with her parents because they didn't continue on. And it's very, very common. And I think that's one of the most frustrating things, because I'm like, your dog is great, but you don't see it. And it's a lot of seeing people get frustrated.
Yeah.
So I notice a lot of people, rather than using the dog's motivation positively and telling them when they're doing something right, they're just telling the dog when they're doing something wrong. So they don't get any direction.
All right. So we did not plan that, but that was such a good point. Literally what happened, the woman brought the dog in. The dog was sitting right next to her and then just tried to leap and take off, which can be scary, especially if you're outside and you've got cars coming by, right? It's to try to have them behave. I will say, and this is how we bring it home, when Kaylee was trained, when Tessa was trained, it was going home, asking, sitting down with the trainer, what do I need to do now? We would go downstairs. Tessa and I regularly would go downstairs. I actually used my fitness gym, a little plyometric box, and I would have her put all 4 paws on top of that. I would walk around no matter what the distraction. She would just sit, and her eyes and my eyes were on her. Right? So we have to do the work. I can't stress that enough. And Rose, you're right. I was having too much fun with the little e-collar. So we're learning their motivation. We're learning their value. Again, they work with all types of dogs. And we heard earlier that an old dog can learn new tricks. The last thing I'm going to ask you, because the other dog we have at home, and a lot of you might have the same situation, we don't know his background. Right? When you adopt a dog, you don't know where they come from. We imagine that he was abused for probably, we got him at about 2.5 years old. So we're talking about 2.5 years of possible big time abuse, trauma. So he used to run into his crate. I wanted to leave the door open to see if he felt comfortable. And then we put a bed right near it. Now he goes back and forth. He actually went into Tessa's bed the other day. I'm like, oh, now he wants all the beds. He loves me. I am his human. And he trusts me. He'll come to me. I let him come to me, not to him.
Yes, and
he's still, he's still timid. He's now coming around. My clients that come to the house that I train, which is great for him.
Awesome.
But it's still my husband. My husband's 6'3", muscular. He's the big guy. We imagine he was probably abused by a guy. My mom asked this question. Monica, do you think if you took Opus to Kennedy that she'd be able to help that trauma?
Yeah, especially if your husband comes to the lessons and works with him.
Do you hear this, Jim? You have to put in the work.
Well, what we can do is turn Jim into the hot dog man. And so whenever your dog sees him, he gets a hot dog and he's going to be like, oh, this guy's great. It's all about that positive association, but also respecting his boundaries. So if your dog doesn't want to be bothered at the moment, not bothering him. But I always recommend to people when they have a more nervous dog or really any dog, and they have people come over, they want to introduce them to new people or get them over their little hump, always start with food. And it might even just be tossing a treat in the dog's direction to get them to start to approach you, to take it out of your hand. But don't push it. Don't even make eye contact. Just toss treats at them.
Yes, you have to be very aware with a dog that has tendencies from trauma in the past, because what I've done is really pay attention and watch. When we first got him, and if any of you are in the same kind of boat, not treat motivated, not toy motivated. Really, he doesn't understand about playing with toys.
Right.
But when you said Jim could be the hot dog man, my client Janice is the cheese lady.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Same thing. So find what motivates them. And some dogs are weird. They like really, really specific snacks. So find that snack and just run with it.
And Jessica had mentioned it last month, that Jim needs to be the one that feeds him. Jim needs to be the one that gives him the cheese or the bacon.
All good things.
And she said that Jim should come home and just sit down on the floor because it's very different. And he'll look and like, why is he on the floor? And then let him kind of come around. She's like, don't pay attention to him for the first few times. Have him get on the ground, just check his phone, and then let him just kind of circle around, right?
Don't bother him at all and keep the session short. He's going to become more comfortable over time, and you can make those sessions longer and longer. But sessions can be 45 seconds. It doesn't have to be a whole long thing, especially if you ended on a good note. If you ended on a super good note, you just see a slight thing or a slight change in your dog's behavior. That's kind of a breakthrough. End it so that the next time you do it, he's going to remember from that last moment and be like, oh, I got cheese. It wasn't bad. He didn't even touch me. This is great. Let's do it again.
All right. We've got a lot of work to do, don't we? You and I both. Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa. Yes, Michelle, she is the cheese lady. But the funny thing is, she's been gone in Colorado. She comes back in about a week and a half. And now every one of my clients that comes over, he goes like this and looks. no cheese lately.
Aww.
I'm like, one of you give him, I actually do. I give him cheese. And you know the whole Pavlov's dog thing.
Exactly.
I blend up my protein shake every day. My other dogs come and they know that I'm going to give them peanut butter.
Yep.
Or the one who's allergic to peanut butter, I give her sunflower butter. He has started to realize something's going on over there.
Yep.
Although I don't care about peanut butter and sunflower butter, maybe she'll give me cheese.
Exactly.
He knows I turn the blender on, I give cheese.
Yep.
So it's these small little steps of me having awareness, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
that's the whole premise of training is the Pavlov. You reward the behaviors you want to see, and they're going to continue on with those behaviors.
So if you adopt a dog, and that is the big thing, Bubba was our dog that we showed today. I'm going to show him one more time. He is on the right side here. Big, lovable, gentle giant that loves everyone and loves everything. Who is it on the left?
That was a little groom dog. So
Okay.
I'm in and out of grooming too. And
Oh, you do both?
Oh,
Still?
Yep, I do
Holy cow,
everything.
you're busy.
Oh yeah, I do a little bit of everything.
Girl,
so.
you and I both. I think that's just the way the world is now.
Oh yeah.
So if you would like Kennedy to train you and your dog, and I stress this enough, you've got to do the work at home. So just like people who come here and say, you didn't train my dog. Well, we did actually, because the dog was so well behaved here, but something else is happening in the disconnection at home. Please do your work. Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa. Check them out online. My team has done a great job dropping all the links that you need. As you heard Kennedy say, she does have some openings in July. If you want some training, she does grooming as well. They do an incredible job here. Support those that support us and support local businesses. You are adorable.
Thank you.
And she's got matching dimples. All right, I am going to see what you can do with Opus because I would just love for him to come out of that trauma shell. And then I'm going to report back to you about how this leash training goes with Adelaide not jumping. Because
Let's
again,
do it.
I love the fact that she loves everyone, but I don't want the jumping to happen.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to all of you, thank you again each and every day for tuning in. You can see on the bottom of the screen that we ask you to share and like and follow all the live streams. We are on Rumble and Instagram, X and YouTube and Facebook, and it just keeps growing. You all are helping the audience grow as well. We just put a post out about the growth just on my business page. We are up to 28,100, I think. We already gained another 100 in the last day. I'm going to try to get that one first to 30,000, and I'm going to reward someone. We will be able to pull as soon as we hit 30,000. We've got a reward for you. See, it's reward training.
Oh yeah.
For getting us to 30 and growing from there and there and there. Right now, with all those collective platforms, we are live to as many as 50,000 at any given point. So there's a lot that can be done in this community. The number one thing we ask you to do, though, is to go out, do anything you want to be in the world, become a trainer, become a groomer, become a broadcaster, whatever it is. But the number one thing we ask is to be kind.
Yes.
Right? God bless you all. Have a beautiful day.